That's just an opinion. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I think if you ever, you could get a good program where you could replace like 5 or 6 or 10 a year, and then, you know, you'd always have good flags. I mean, you wouldn't be sitting here trying, I think with the cheap ones, I think you're gonna be buying a bunch every year. It's my personal opinion.
How many did we replace last year? About 40 or so last year, didn't we?
It was about 70.
70?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really depends on the weather
Yeah.
that we have for that year. And last year, I know for sure, and I think in previous years, that they've been the nylon flags. So the nylon option here is the exact same one that we were getting before. And again, just depending on weather, different circumstances, you know, you may have to change them anyway. Those were not specially rated for high winds, so if you go for that, just based on what I've seen online, you're looking at about $40 for a flag.
We have two different options, two different opinions.
I'll go with experience. You think they'll last longer?
I know the better ones, even if you just go with the better one other than the real cheap one, because the real cheap ones are $7 or $8, they're real thin, and the wind, if you get any high wind, it beats them up bad real quick.
I'm good with that.
Of course, the one out Parker was 30 foot in the air too, but I mean, they're still, you know, the sun bleaches them out and everything else. I mean, maybe go somewhere in between. I was thinking maybe a program where you're gonna replace 20 of them a year or whatever, and then you'd never be buying like 70 like we did last year.
You know what our total is?
That's what I'm about to ask, yeah.
Yeah, we need about 150 to be
150.
fully stocked.
Okay.
So if we do 30 a year, I think they'll last 5 years. They probably wouldn't last 5 years.
The cheap one.
But if you do 50 a year,
Yeah, every 3 years we have.
you get 3 years rotation.
If you actually want to rotate them out there, you probably might get buy the cheap ones, because they're only flying, what, a month?
3 months, 3 or 4 months a year.
Okay.
Memorial Day to Labor Day.
No, we're gonna keep them up till the fair though. That's gonna be something 6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
We what now?
If we keep them up through the fair, it's gonna be almost 6 months.
I still wouldn't buy the very cheap one, not from my past experience, I wouldn't. I would go
I think
over
most of me buy the boat, it's good ones.
How many do we want to do? Do strictly the 33, or do you want to get a rotation?
Why don't we start a rotation?
Okay, so is that for the nylons that we've got a quote for, or for sourcing?
I think local is very important.
Okay.
Now, now, that's the nylon flag. What's the price of the nylon flag?
They were $21 a flag.
And the cloth were cheap for.
The poly cotton were cheaper, they were the $7.85.
They pay real bad.
Huh?
That cotton would stay real bad.
Right, so you,
I just
nylon,
think you ought to, if you're gonna have a flag flying, I think you ought to look nice. I think
do.
you ought to take it down regular, that's my personal opinion. You have to- I'd go with the nylon, because I mean,
okay, no,
What's that working for?
That's
Total?
what I was
I'm in.
gonna say, times 150,
If we do a rotation, that's 50. So it's right about $1,000.
$1,050.
I think that's a good idea.
I wouldn't throw away 20,
Yeah,
27 that if we get a flag broke or messed up this year, we can replace with that, plus
Right.
extra 20. So, does that sound, before we make a motion, does that sound like right to everybody? So, motion would be,
to buy the
Now,
nylon flag.
I second that motion.
50 of them? 50?
50 at
50.
50
Yeah.
at $21.
We need to budget that, budget time. One of us three to try to remember that. Mainly you two.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a list.
He's flying upside down right now.
So we spent $40 each on flags.
All right, motion on the floor. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to suggest that maybe next year, if neither one of if they weren't able to source locally the higher quality this year, maybe by next year they could kind of research and find out if there is a better quality flag for us. It gives them enough time to know what might be interested in that.
And they know that we're looking at getting 50 every year.
And make it worth a while.
Is there any way we can put it, Bob, is there any way we can put a tag or something on there that hangs from it? So we can keep up with what date we bought and everything?
I'm sure we can do it.
Like with a zip tie or something?
You can write the date on it.
I think
On the pole.
Yeah.
That'd be okay.
Probably do that, yeah. That'd be a good idea too.
We can talk to the,
Yeah.
Board of Public Works about that, because they're the ones who put them up and take them down every year.
If we're gonna rotate them, we'll have to have some way to mark them, so we'll know which one to get out.
We still have a motion, so we need to get that approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We need to set a public hearing for 1301 First Street, casually known as the former hospital building. How about next meeting, 6:15?
Like 6.
Any objections? If not, we're gonna set that date. All right, we'll set that date. Anything else to bring to the council before we adjourn? And go into closed session, discuss just about everything, estate, litigation, and personnel.
How about the mayor pro tem? We doing-
Oh, yeah, sure, you
I'd
need to
like
do
to
that.
nominate, Councilman Phelps.
All right, Councilman
I'll
Powell.
second that.
Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
You can't miss a meeting.
Oh, no.
All right, I appreciate you bringing that up. I guess, you've asked a few times, any changes on the properties that you brought up?
Yes, I've been, Terry, then we got that going good on the property out there. I've got some, the right acres area out in there. And I've been to court a couple of times, and, Brian's not here, but I'll brag on him. He does a good job staying on top of that, and, Terry's been on top of this, and I appreciate that, and the neighborhood out there appreciates it, and I think we're making headway with that.
How about on Elm Street? Like, the financial.
I don't know that he's issued another citation. I'm confident he has.
Okay.
Brian works hard at that.
He
You
does.
Give him a lot more credit.
He does a very good
He
job,
deserves
does.
credit for that.
He's very thorough.
While we're on that subject, I've had 2 complaints in the last week about there were some properties still there. Just to throw it out again.
We'll get that, get Brian on that one. He got owed them last year, they started, they did the minimum.
These were about the debris on the building site.
I tell you, I'd like to thank all the departments of the city, every one of them. I mean, I seen the girl out picking up, road closed signs in front of my house at, 7 o'clock Sunday morning, you know, after all the rains and stuff, and all of them worked hard. I mean, I think we got a really, a bunch of good city in department heads. I mean, I appreciate them. Fire department all the way to the street department, all of them. So thank you, girl.
National Guard was out here too, you know, and everything helped too with them, so.
If you just get the, you know, they close the road in front of my house, so they think that means you can drive through your yard.
Yeah.
Close the road.
The ditch too, Bob, they can drive through the ditch too, can't they?
Yeah, they tried to walk the ditch too, there's a body man, he told his truck out. Water going plumb through the cab of it.
There were 2 of them, didn't there?
Was two of them? I thought they were gonna tear the tile out because the trucks were hung on the tile and they trying to pull it out with a wrecker. And I hollered and told him, I said, you better pull it the other way, cause you're gonna pull the tile out of the ground. But they made a mess down there. I was gonna talk to you about that, see if we get some rip in there or something, cause I used to kinda keep that all mowed and just a mess right now.
All right, you all, well, we need to vote to
So it's close.
go to closed session. So,
I'll make a
motion to
motion.
go to closed session, second, and roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very